The following is an America Matters media production. The views expressed do not necessarily represent those of the station or its advertisers, although we think they should. But that's the opinion of America Matters Media.
This is not America. Sha-la-la-la-la. Little piece of you.
Hey, welcome. It's Talking Truth to Power, Nevada and the world's Freedom Talk Radio. I'm your host, Brendan Trainor, and my co-host, Leland Faegre. And along with us is Shanimal Lawson behind the board.
Please hold your horses, Shanimal.
Morning.
So I think the theme today is, again, it's all COVID all the time. What bleeds leads. But the Americans are rising up. You know,
Is that your own? What bleeds leads?
No.
It's damn good.
All walks of life, all income levels, by the thousands and hundreds of thousands, Americans are showing they can put principle before profits, including even their own livelihood. And even if their corporatist government threatens them with terminations, many, many Americans are refusing to take the vax.
We don't have the time.
Yeah.
You see what Obama said yesterday at that?
CNN Tonight, brought to you by Pfizer.
That rally for McAuliffe?
Yeah.
Because we don't have the time.
Oh,
We got to shove this down their throats before they can figure it out.
and we only have 10 years before the planet burns out.
Yeah, and only 12 months before the next election. So, yeah, they are running out of time, which is a point we've made all the time here
Yes.
on our show.
Yeah. But, you know, that CNN town hall with Anderson Cooper was just a mess,
Oh,
wasn't
my
it?
God, yeah. Embarrassing. But then he always is.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, you just tune in for the comedy, I think, mostly.
Yeah.
I mean, his life has been a mess.
Yes, it has been.
You know, he's not happy with his own life, which is why we're, you know, victims of his own creation, his own lack of creation. You know, he's the plagiarist. He's lied about everything.
Right.
He keeps telling that story about Amtrak.
Yes.
I think he's told it 5 times now.
The conductor pinched him on the chin and all that stuff.
And it's just absolute nonsense.
Right.
So...
And then I think he feels guilty about Bo dying after he's.
I'm sure. I don't.
He voted for the Iraq War.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, he's been wrong about his former defense secretary. What was his name? The Republican guy? I can't think of his name offhand.
I don't. Republican.
Under Bush. I can't think of his name. But anyway.
Powell?
No. But he said, you know, he's never been right about any
Gage?
critical decision.
Was it Gage?
No. I'll come up with it.
All right.
But I mean, he's just desperate, and the American people are running out of patience for this.
Yeah. And what was really strange, I don't know if we have the
Lower your expectations.
The sound was that strange interlude when he stood there like a robot with his fists.
I saw that.
Clenched, arms at 90 degrees.
Right.
And he just kind of froze like that. And so people are doing memes because it looked like a character from the old comic strip, Beavis and Butthead.
It really did, didn't it?
Yeah. I don't know.
I didn't realize that until I saw that image that was...
Do we got that one to play there, Shanimal? Okay.
The Youngkin win could spell trouble for Democrats. You know that, right?
Yes.
And why would you have Biden show up if he wasn't, you know...
Desperate.
Yeah, I mean...
They are desperate. And Obama was down there in Virginia, too. But he opened his mouth and said parents shouldn't control what their children are learning in school.
Yeah.
And that was...
Well, he started digging his own grave, and now they're trying to save him. And
Threatening me? I am Cornholio.
Cool.
Cornholio, I need TV for my bunghole.
Pass.
Are you threatening me? You will. Bunghole? Okay. The principal, he will give me TP. I would hate for my bunghole to get polio.
And if you can picture him with his hands gripped
Yeah, and
You know,
90 degrees out from his body.
That's the parallel.
And,
It's-
some people were saying this could be an Alzheimer's thing,
oh, I'm
that he locks up like that.
sure it is.
Yeah.
I am very willing to let the American public judge my physical and mental my physical as well as my mental fitness.
Well, we're doing that. The sinking ship entertainment has embodied itself around this guy for sure.
So, and then at the same time that he was, making a internet meme out of himself, you have Vladimir Putin over in Valde gave a long, coherent 2 or 3 hour speech on the state of Russia and the West.
Is that the annual event that he does every year?
No, this was something called the Valde Discussion Club. And,
Is that when did he invite Western reporters?
I think that, I believe there were Westerners there.
Because I know that's about a 3-hour event. He's been doing it every year.
He does a lot of stuff. He does the international press conference. He does the national press conference videoed. He used to do radio shows all the time, call-in shows for the people. So but the thing is, he's coherent. He gave a very deep, complex analysis of what was going on between Russia and the West, and saying that the West is destroying their history and Russia is not. And that's true. Since Putin took over, Russia has been rebuilding its history, giving its people a sense of their nation. He's been dedicating monasteries. He recently dedicated a statue to Alexander Nevsky. I'm sure most people don't know who that is, but he's considered the George Washington of Russia, going way back to the 13th century. And so he's giving the Russian people a sense of their history, while over here in the West, we're just with these cultural Marxists, you know what they call it, the march through the institutions. You ever hear that phrase?
That's a good one.
Yeah.
That's a damn good one.
Yeah, they did it in Hungary. Rod Dreher had a column about it recently. After the war, the Warsaw Pact, they said, you can elect a government, and they elected basically a classical liberal democratic government, but the communists started infiltrating all the institutions, and pretty soon it was a shell.
Well, we fed, burped, and diapered the Soviet Union all those years.
Yep.
So how difficult would it be to orient your future to the West?
Right.
Hi, this is Eddie Floyd. Let me tell you about my favorite non-profit public charity, Wainema Wild Horse Sanctuary, located on the Forsythe Ranch in Hallelujah Junction area. And please go to www.wainemaranch.com. That's WYNEMA ranch.com.
Mustang salad now, baby.
This is America Matters Media on AM 1180 KCKQ,
A Lotus broadcast station.
the power of radio since 1967.
To join the conversation, call 844-790-TALK. That's 844-790-8255. Now, back to the show.
Well, Lee, we got to feel sorry for a couple of establishment liberals.
We do?
First one, yeah.
Okay.
Poor Dr. Fauci had a rough week, didn't he?
I can't remember when he's had a good week, but yeah, it was a particularly difficult week for him.
Yeah, his own NIH, I believe it was, released emails that show he did lie to Congress over gain-of-function research
As if we needed that.
he approved. Right.
If you can't connect the dots there, there's no help for you.
You're a lying dog faced pony shoulder.
Yeah, right. Well, yeah, and yet he's still standing.
Right.
He
He hasn't resigned yet.
Yeah, and he should have out of his own sense of decency, I think. But and now he's got other issues with how he's handled animals.
Right. Yeah, that's this bad. The White Coats Project, I believe they were the ones that first started producing evidence about this whole Wuhan lab gain of function stuff. But then they came out today and said that his agency funds very inhumane medical research in Tunisia, of all places.
Yeah, because it's offshore.
Yeah, Yep, it's out of the country.
That's the secret. You can do anything over there.
They use specially bred beagles who are bred to be compliant, although the beagles already are a compliant breed. For research, they put the dogs' heads into like a netted enclosure in which the poor dogs are attacked by infectious sandflies and their faces eaten off.
It's one of the most hideous things I've ever heard.
I've ever heard of, right?
And what would be the point of it?
I don't know. This
is the part of it I think that needs to be understood.
Right.
Is that we don't understand it.
Right. If it was doing a heart transplant in a pig, then that's something you might be able to understand.
And there was something along those lines this week. A pig's kidney was used to save a life now.
Okay.
Yeah. So but you make a good point. I mean, if it can sustain human life or has some value in the course of events, but what would be the point of that?
I don't know. And they put some of them in cages out in the desert so the fleas could attack them out there, or the flies. I don't know. They surgically removed the beagle's vocal cords so they could not bark or make noises during the experiment.
Isn't that nice?
Yes.
So they're not bothered.
They're not going to be bothered.
The scientists aren't bothered with it.
No. They don't have to listen.
Oh, my God.
Oh, hell no.
I didn't hear that part of it.
Yeah.
So thanks for sharing that.
Yeah. So this all makes...
this is the monster that is Anthony Fauci.
I mean, he's looking less and less like a saint and more like Pinhead from the Hellraiser movies.
Way to go, a-hole!
Yeah.
I know. It's awful. So how are we going to force him to resign? He's 83 years old. He's been wrong over and over again. He contradicts himself. When his authority is challenged, he lashes out and declares that he is the science. And he wants to control. And if the people don't do what he wants to do, he wants the government to issue mandates. This guy is a tyrant.
Oh, he is. Yeah. That's exactly what he is.
Yeah.
Whatever. I'll do what I want.
And
that's what he does.
We have the second liberal that got himself in deep water.
Statist, you mean?
Statist liberal, yeah. Actor Alec Baldwin.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. These anti-gun control, these gun control people, and I said these gun grabbers, they don't know the first things about guns. But on the other hand, he's been doing this for over 20 years, right? He should know the protocols for gun safety on a set.
One would think, and if he didn't, he should be advised by those very people that do.
Right.
On the set.
Well, there was Laura Southern laid it out pretty well, I think, that there was at least 5 instances in which the accident, the tragedy could have been averted.
Mm-hmm.
First of all, you had a 24-year-old armorer on her first job who likes to be photographed with a lot of guns. And according to the story, although, everybody's innocent or proven guilty and we don't have the official legal charges yet, but according to the story, on Saturday, she and some of the other crew members went out and fired those guns, those prop guns with live ammo.
So the likelihood of live ammo being on the set is the issue.
Right.
How did that happen?
And then instead of directly handing the guns to the assistant director, which should be the protocol, she left them on a cart outside of the set. The assistant director just picked them up and said they were cold. He didn't look at them.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And then it's supposed to go first when it gets in past him, and he was fired from another set because of a gun accident.
Yep.
So the assistant director was another failed check. Then it should have gone to the key grip, which I understand is the head cinematographer, and he should have checked it. We're not even sure it went to that step. And then it goes to the actor. And
is that what he is?
And there's a guy that's had anger management issues.
And and it's not too difficult to extend by logical consequence that he had made enemies on that set.
Mm.
What would be
According to the stories, a very poorly run set with labor problems.
What would be the
and
odds?
2 other accidents, gun discharges.
That someone just accidentally left a live round in that gun. And apparently what I saw this morning was he was practicing drawing his gun.
Right.
Like the opening scene to Gunsmoke.
I think it's supposed to be sitting in a pew, and he had to reach up and grab his gun from a sitting position, and he stupidly pointed it without realizing, or unless there was something even worse, realizing it, at this woman, this camera person.
He thought he was just being cute.
Yep.
Didn't he?
Apparently.
Yeah. And that's the first violation of a firearm.
He had 2 violated. Number 1, he should have checked the ammo, even though all these other people should have checked the ammo. None of them did. And then number 2, never point a gun at somebody unless you're going to shoot them.
Unless you're intending to shoot.
Yeah.
So I think, and this is just just my sense is, I'm thinking that he's not going to get any less angry. This couldn't happen to a nicer guy.
I know. You know, it's a terrible thing to kill someone. I'm sure that...
horrible price to pay to be
I'm
working
sure
with that
he's
guy.
emotionally wrecked right now, or I guess he is. Maybe he's just another cold you-know-what, but he's probably very emotionally wrecked right now. But it couldn't have happened to a better person to have something really bad happen to.
This should humble him. But it'll make him more angry, I'm sure. That's just the way he is. So
I wonder if he's going to be doing more Donald Trump impersonation.
Or producing more films.
Yes. Yeah, this is, he's liable not only for his actions on the set, but by the fact that he's the the executive producer.
Mm-hmm.
So he's got double liability, possible criminal.
Tough for this film to make any money. Again, couldn't happen to a nicer guy.
Think of the art we lost.
I know. Where's the tissue?
Yeah, so, between Fauci and Baldwin, we have 2 liberal icons that have really been exposed. The mask has come off, as they say.
And it couldn't be happening at a better time.
Right.
Going in, because we're just a year off from the midterm. So perfect.
Yep. If I know there's a movement to get Fauci out of there, let's see if it works. He lied to Congress. He's got a criminal referral, and now he's been exposed as an inhumane animal.
He's a monster.
PETA should be picking him every day.
Well, I saw somebody from PETA on with Tucker last night.
Oh, yeah?
She excoriated him.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I was wondering where PETA was during this whole thing. Because they should have been coming out of wherever they live,
Right. We should see some demonstrations, and I wonder if he's going to be on TV.
They'll tap that down,
Yeah, but
Soros
the
will
thing
tap
is,
that
Fauci's
down.
always on TV. He's always explaining himself or explaining...
He has to try to explain himself. He has no choice but to try to explain himself.
This is not gain-of-function research, Senator Paul.
Yeah. This is hands shaking,
Then the two pointed fingers.
Yep. And then, it goes on and on and on. I think the American people will respond accordingly in the midterms.
It's just like the former governor of New York. You can't get him for killing the old people, but you can get him for sexually harassing his secretary.
You know what we need to do, don't you? Lower our expectations. What are our choices?
I know. At least for the next year, we've got to keep those expectations tamped down. Mm-hmm. Tamped down hard.
When we get an impeachment going, if he lasts to the next election, to the midterms, we'll get an impeachment going against him in the House, because we'll have control of the House.
Right.
So that'll be exciting. So don't lose faith.
Careful what
ladies and
presidents you said there, Democrats.
Yeah.
Getting to know you
Let me tell you about America Matters with Eddie Floyd. It comes on every Monday at noon. Don't want you to miss it. That's America Matters with Eddie Floyd.
Want to expand your advertising dollar? Sponsor this or any America Matters program by calling 775-827-8900, extension 2. Now, back to the show.
Well, welcome back to Talking Truth to Power. I'm your host, Bernard Trainor. My co-host is Leland Faegre. And the culture wars are still being fought. You know that, Lee?
Yeah, I keep hearing about it.
Right. So we had this last week the Dave Chappelle show, The Closer, which caused another social justice warrior freak out when he supported the TERFs. You ever hear of the TERFs?
No.
Well, the TERFs are transsexual accepted.
Is this an acronym?
Radical feminists. That's
okay.
right. Yeah, it's an acronym. TERFS.
Okay.
And they are they are women
taking notes over here.
Yeah, they're women who are radical feminists, except when it comes to transsexuals who are infringing on women's rights, such as women in sports. That's the main issue, although there are others.
Well, you know what Lloyd Austin said.
Well, he said a lot of things.
Nothing like this has been done before.
A trans girl is a girl.
Okay.
Yeah, that's Sarah
Taking
Silverman.
notes.
Yep,
Yep.
that's Sarah Silverman. But, they're not a girl, really. Now, this is something that we're going to have to hash out over the next few years because it's not going away, but it is being...
But the honeymoon is over.
The honeymoon is over, exactly. Yeah. They're one victim class that is having their victimhood, questioned. We had the new admiral that was appointed, and the Democrats, and that was Rachel Levine, right? That's yes,
Mm-hmm.
and she's.
He looks good in a dress.
Yeah, or in a naval outfit. And, Rachel Levine is the transsexual former pediatrician, which causes some people to shake their heads, who, appears to advocate for pushing younger and younger children into having transitioning, as they call it, from one sex to another, one gender to another.
You know what that is, don't you?
Child abuse?
It's over the horizon technology.
A trans girl is a girl.
All right.
So
put it in bold here.
Yes. So one of our congressmen kind of objected to the press release that they sent out because when they made her the first admiral, they did not say that she was the first transsexual, appointed to that high office. But they said she was the first woman appointed to that high
they
office.
described her by her stated preference.
Yes, right.
That's all it was.
Right. So, the congressman got suspended from Twitter for a week for
right.
for saying that.
My response to that would be, why does he have a Twitter account?
Yeah.
Even Kamala liked that.
Right.
one.
And now, I watch Blair White's channel. She's the libertarian conservative type of transsexual, and she was pointing out that the mainstream media does not point out, and it is a good lesson, that Chappelle talked about a friend, or at least a coworker of his, who was a transsexual comedian. And this transsexual comedian, her name was Daphne Dorman, actually opened for his act. And she was, as Blair White points out, Miss Dorman was ripped by the social justice warriors for even appearing on the same stage or working with Chappelle. And it caused her so much trauma that she actually killed herself.
Wow.
About a week later.
Wow.
So Blair White was on there saying, this is a point they should speak to, and that these fanatics, these cultural Marxists are, they're the ones that killed this transsexual, and not the right wing.
Right.
Right.
And that the blame for that is clearly misdirected.
Right. Mm-hmm. So also we had the fact that the TERFs are being reinforced.
They're getting reinforcements?
Yeah, they're getting reinforcements. It's the woman that authored The Handmaid's Tale, which is, the liberals' favorite movie of all time. Margaret Chapman, whatever her name is, she came out and supported the TERFs against the transsexual athletes. And she said, things are going too far. We have to put a break on it.
So it wasn't a righteous strike.
Right. So she has joined J.K. Rowling, the authors of the Harry Potter stories, novels, in joining the TERFs. So the TERFs are getting all these middle class, middle-aged white authoresses on their side. You can't argue with Chapman and Rowling. That sounds like a law firm in itself.
A lot of people like that stuff.
Yeah.
Inconceivable!
I know it is to me, but...
And while Chappelle is being, skewered for his...
I'd say this, he's managing it well, I think.
Yes. Oh, he says he will sit down and talk to the communists. Mm-hmm. And, if they want to bring it up to it, as long as he's able to keep his, dignity or whatever.
And what he's saying is, he wants to do it in a dignified way, and he knows who his enemy is.
Right.
Which I think is how you win anything.
Sure.
You've got to know your enemy.
Right.
Damn, son, where'd you find this?
I don't know. I found it somewhere.
And then, at the same time that they're promoting this kind of divisiveness between the TERFs and the transies, the social justice warriors, they got to get their finger in another pie.
Oh, sure they do. No, they never sleep, those people.
So the Senate confirmed without any Republican votes, so they had to wake Kamala up and have her cast the deciding vote.
They did, yeah.
That Catherine Lehman will head the Office of Civil Rights in the Justice Department. Now, she's another Obama holdover that Biden is pushing on us.
It's basically just Obama's administration by a different name.
It's continuation. Mm-hmm. And when she was in the Obama administration, she issued the Title IX directives that expanded the reach of that title beyond the statutory language, especially in the area of accusations on campus of sexual harassment or rape. And this resulted in numerous cases of false accusations, like the lacrosse players and the incident in Duke University that Rolling Stone, messed up completely.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And there was,
they've done that more than once.
Yeah, more than once.
Yeah.
And plus, all kinds of times when young men are accused of a girl that probably just has, morning regrets over what happened the night before, of raping her. So if she is, Trump appointed Betsy DeVos as Secretary of Education, and she reversed all of that and restored due process, because a lot of times they had a young man accused of sexual misconduct or harassment had no opportunity to cross-examine the witness, had no even opportunity to an attorney, and was completely railroaded through a process and kicked out of school and have a blot on their record,
So you're saying mamas shouldn't let their babies grow up to be
college students. Not when Catherine Lorman is in charge.
Yeah, I think that's good advice.
Yeah.
Good counsel.
Yeah. So, it's strange, isn't it, how they become fanatical to promote rights that don't exist, and then on the other hand, they become fanatical to strip away rights that should exist. It's kind of a strange game they're playing.
Very. It's all very peculiar, and I think it's so disaffecting that people are not paying attention. They've tuned out.
Right.
But they're going to be back in the game here next year.
Right.
About summer is when people start thinking about November.
Right. And they got a lot of splaining to do.
They do. A whole lot of splaining to do. And they won't answer all of that. They won't be able to explain it to anyone.
Yeah, it's...
the managed destruction of the United States of America.
The march through the institutions.
Yeah, very good.
Yeah. And so we've got...
we risk losing...
Rowling and Chapman manning the barricades, trying to turn them back.
and we risk losing our edge as a nation.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
I know this because Biden said so.
Well, they still haven't figured out what that submarine hit in the South China Sea.
I haven't heard a thing about it since.
No.
Have you?
No.
No, I haven't heard.
But I know, as Colin Powell would have said, we're breaking a lot of China wherever we go.
It's just too soon to tell. Yeah, that's it. You break it, you own it.
Yep.
That's what Colin said. Colin knows these things.
Yep. We're going to own a lot of refugees. That's what we're going to own.
Yeah, exactly.
This is America Matters Media on AM 1180 KCKQ, a Lotus broadcast station. The power of radio since 1967.
Unable to listen to the whole show? A recording of today's program will be available later today. Visit americamatters.us and click on the podcast link. Now, back to the show.
Well, welcome back to the final segment for Talking Truth to Power. I'm your host, Brendan Trainor. I'm here with co-host Leland Faegre. And, Poland is standing up to the European Union, the European Union Parliament, and over its sovereignty and its constitution.
That seems to be a theme that runs through the bloc that was occupied for 40 years, isn't it?
Yeah.
A general theme.
Right. Right. Yeah. Oh, yeah. The
Hungary
and Poland and
Belarus.
Belarus, yeah.
me no Belarus.
Speaking of Belarus, do you know what trick he's pulling?
No.
Yeah. The EU has sanctioned the national airline, Belarusia or something, Belarus, something, that the name of the national airline,
That's because he used it, didn't he?
Well, that's simply because
he exploited.
They're trying to claim that he forced down those people, but he didn't. Mm-hmm. He did not do that, and it's provable. But nevertheless, they sanctioned the airline.
If you tell the lie often enough, it becomes
exactly.
The truth.
So the airline can't land in Western Europe, in a lot of cities in Western Europe. So
great for the shareholders, huh?
So they're increasing their flights to the Middle East, and Lukashenko is kind of letting it be known, I don't know what kind of ads he's doing, that if you come to Belarus from the Middle East, you can probably get into another country and live in another country.
Interesting.
So he's bringing all these Middle Easterners and sending them to Poland. And
who can blame them?
Yeah,
it's just...
Lithuania. And
yeah.
Yeah, so that's a little trickery. But Poland is what they did was... they may have changed their Supreme Court in some way, but at any rate, the Poland Constitutional Court has ruled that the EU rules do not apply when they violate Polish laws or the Polish Constitution.
Which is an assertion of their own unique sovereignty, which is what we're supposed to do as nations.
Right. Right.
Beautiful.
And it's federalism. They're trying to regain a little federalism in the European Union.
Within the pan-European arrangement.
And, of course, Ursula Le Guin and all the rest of them are panicking or extremely upset because, you just can't do that. You have to... Everybody has to have the same values. That's the word they like to use.
Thing.
It's our values.
But they don't want it just in the pan-European arrangement.
Right.
They want it all around the world.
Oh, yeah. Exactly.
Everywhere you go.
Right.
A borderless world. That's what they want.
A borderless world, all anal all the time.
Mm-hmm. Single currency.
Right.
Single central bank.
Right.
Everything operates from New York. At the United Nations.
Right.
That's it.
Except, don't forget there has to be a Supreme Court for the world in Jerusalem.
Yeah, that's right. It's an oversight on my part.
So we're going to see...
I sit corrected.
Yeah. And like I said before, most of the Polish people actually like the EU. They like the benefits of the EU. But in fact, they're also proud people, and they like their national sovereignty.
Well, so did the Irish. It's the same mindset.
Yeah, I know.
It was hard for them to separate the fact that this was going to happen. I remember speaking to someone back at the time when the zone was constructed, and he was just absolutely over the moon over the fact that the roads were going to get repaired in Ireland because money was coming from elsewhere on the continent.
Uh-huh.
They weren't paying for their own roads. That mindset to me is so strange.
I know.
Shouldn't you be building your own roads?
Exactly. Yeah.
In a sovereign arrangement, that's how it's supposed to be done.
Right.
I don't even like the interstate highway system here in this country.
No, I agree with you. I mean,
California should fix its own roads.
That's getting pretty arcane libertarian stuff, but yeah.
But that's where I am.
Yeah, exactly.
That's where I dwell.
Yeah, that was one of the beginnings of the end when Eisenhower built the interstate highway.
I think he wanted, the thinking was there that he wanted the U.S. military to be able to go interstate on highways that were federally funded.
Right. Well, so aside from the interstate highways, what else has the federal government done for us?
Yeah. Well, let me think about it. We come back next week.
You can hear the chants from the crowd. Let's go, Brandon.
Yep. Let's go, Brendan is right. It's taken off everywhere now. It's just viral everywhere.
It's in Europe, too.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're doing it at soccer games and other venues. And
the translation or the expression?
No, the Let's Go, Brandon.
Oh, okay.
Well, I think both.
Yeah.
Both.
I can't imagine there's anybody out there that still doesn't know about this.
Yeah.
But apparently there are some that are slow to come to terms with this. So.
Well, speaking of Europe, NATO is desperately trying to remain relevant and is talking. Jens Stoltenberg, the head of NATO, is talking about expanding its reach to include Asia and the world. And so he and General Lloyd Austin got their puny heads together over the last week. And so they have new plan to contain Russia. Now, they didn't publish this plan, but it appears to actually concede that NATO cannot, in fact, defend the Baltic states, Poland, Ukraine, or any country close to Russia's border. Not that Russia wants to invade any of them, unless, maybe the Ukraine after what happened last spring. But if the Ukraine attacks the Donbass or Crimea, then they would probably retaliate. But what the Stoltenberg and Austin came up with, we believe, is we're going to lower the nuclear threshold.
That sounds nice.
Yes.
Who's against that?
What could possibly go?
This is CNN.
Nothing like this has been done before.
No.
That's what Lloyd Austin said. Actually, he said that about Afghanistan.
Yeah, but it
still
applies.
Works. Still
applies.
Works.
Yeah, they're visionaries.
Oh, absolutely,
they're
they
looking forward.
are. Yeah, clairvoyant.
Yes, they're opening new ground. So if they can't defeat the Russians with tanks and planes close to the Russian border, they're going to use tactical nukes. We're going to use tactical nukes in Europe. Of course, never mind that Russia has said if anybody sends any kind of a nuke into their territory, they're going to blow up the world. Because, as Putin said, what good would the world be without Russia? And he's actually right.
He makes a pretty good point.
Yeah.
We choose truth over facts.
So, and Russia really has no intention of invading the little Baltic states who are annoying, but they have no intention of invading them. And the last time they invaded anybody was Georgia in 2008, and there was a commission headed by the Swiss, so you knew they were neutral, and they said it was Georgia's fault. But Russia marched through Georgia in 2008, just like Sherman did, only they didn't burn anything down. They just marched in and took the capital. It took them less than a week. And
are you talking about our Georgia?
No, I'm talking about.
Does Brian Kemp know this?
Georgia. No, it's not Ray Charles's Georgia.
Oh, okay.
It's a little country near Russia on the Black Sea. It's a very nice little country. A lot of expats live there. Very cheap to live there. Very, very good food. But anyway, they were goaded. They had a guy in charge named Saakashvili, and they were goaded into shooting at Russian peacekeepers. It's a long story, but at any rate, the Russian army in 2008 marched in and took their capital in 6 days. If they had to invade any of these countries, if they actually threatened them, then they could do the same, including the Ukraine. They could do that before NATO would even have a chance to oppose them. Mm-hmm. So NATO is, by threatening to lower the nuclear threshold, NATO is actually showing how weak they are.
Where's Dwight David Eisenhower when you need him?
I know. Where's Charles de Gaulle when you need him?
Yeah. Those leaders of sovereign states, we need a whole bunch more of them.
Right. And once again, they're fighting the wrong war, because if there's any place where Russia could possibly pose a threat, it would be in the Arctic Ocean and the North Sea. But they're talking about the Black Sea and the Mediterranean and the Pacific Ocean, and it's all fantasy world stuff. They're not going to be able to do any of this.
And you know why, don't you?
No, tell me, Lee. Tell me.
I'm setting up the straight guy. We risk losing our edge as a nation.
Oh, okay.
That's what Biden said. So.
We risk losing our edge.
Those are the ones that really come, my ears go up.
Exactly.
On those.
Right.
Because he's lying through his teeth. It's so obviously a lie. He doesn't care about this nation. It's very clear he hates the United States of America. He's a globalist.
Right.
But that's who's sitting in the Oval Office.
Yeah. Well, till next week.
Most of us like to be out in the sun. That's why sunscreen and other safety measures are key to protecting your skin from aging and cancer. The FDA recommends using a sunscreen with a sun...